Broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Okay, welcome everybody to the first spring webinar for the FISCA 2019 webinar series. Today we are going to have a presentation about how to use our Outlook calendar to track our time so we don't have to learn new software. We can use things we already use. And the presentation today is Be Data Inspired Time Task Analysis Using Outlook. So hopefully everyone here is a little bit familiar with Outlook so that the presentation will make the most sense. And we are just thrilled today to have Sam Desjarlis and Shauna Winterbottom presenting this information. They did present it to Duval County recently, and we were so impressed with the information. We wanted to bring it to you from the FISCA webinar series. And I am now going to turn the microphone over to Sam. She can introduce herself a little bit, and to Shauna, and she can introduce herself a little bit and tell us why they decided to learn how to do this with Outlook and how it can better your practice as a school counselor.
Thank you, Grace. Hi, this is Sam Desjarlis. As Grace said, I'm an elementary school counselor at Holiday Hill Elementary in Jacksonville, Florida. And my co-presenter is a testing coordinator, so she's taking care of that, but she'll be on as soon as she can. And just a little background on how we came to develop this presentation. At the elementary level, you may or may not be experiencing a lot of RTI, MRT, staffing students into special education, amongst other just non-counseling related duties. And my comment was made to me about, Sam, you really need to just can you just service the entire school? And I'm like, yeah, that is my role here at the school. But there's just this pile of paperwork that does not allow me to do that. So I called my district specialist and we just sat on the phone for an hour, walked through Outlook and Excel and how to create a time task analysis so I can present that to my admin. As just the beginning way to advocate for my role as a school counselor and meeting the needs of all the students and working on creating a comprehensive school counseling program, because we know that's just not possible when we're bombarded with just all these non-counseling related duties. So that's just a small little intro as to how this came to be. I'm going to kind of go through the first few slides pretty quickly, just under the assumption that we all know how to use Outlook. Let's see here. We are not advancing forward. So these are just the objectives. We'll learn how to set up our categories within the Outlook calendar, how to export our Outlook calendar into Excel. We'll learn how to graph that data and then how to complete that time study analysis. And so, as I said, I'm going to kind of just go through these pretty quickly. I'm sure most of us know how to set up a meeting, we're going to talk about that categorizing. We can send and accept meeting invites. We can share, print, and then we'll really be focusing on that exporting and analyzing our time. And so this is a list of services that our district came up with for this presentation to help us categorize our time. And so we focused on those four main areas: direct school counseling services, indirect school counseling services, program planning support, and then responsibilities and duties as assigned. So that's a lot of that non-counseling or shared responsibility. And this is going to be one of the handouts that's available. So if you want to have a hard copy or an electronic copy, you'll be able to do so when you're creating your categories within your Outlook calendar. And so these are the basics. copy the Outlook app to your toolbar, time increments, notifications, how to view your calendar. You can share it and categorize. So pretty basic. Once again, just adding a meeting, setting up recurring meetings, reminders, etc. And so this is just a quick snapshot. We'll really work and walk through how to export. But when we open up Outlook, we'll go to File, we'll find Open and Export. We'll click Import and Export, and then we're going to use the wizard to go through how to get it into Excel the way we want it. And then surviving Excel. When we export to Excel, you're going to see quite a mess. There's going to be a lot of columns, so we'll work on cleaning that up. It's going to look scary, but we'll create it where we only have 4 or 5 columns we'll be using, and how to create up the appropriate formulas to get the times we need. And so I'll walk you through how to do this once we export it. And since we are calculating a time over whatever time frame you're looking at, whether that's a week or a month, 9 out of 10 times your total time in a particular area may be over 24 hours. And Excel will not do the correct graph with a total over 24 hours. So we have to go in and create our own little formula. So I'll walk you through that, how to get that correct time. And then this is just kind of a 10-step overview of how to do everything that I'm going to walk you through. There is a handout that's a little bit more in detail with 15 steps so that you can reference it. By no means is Shauna and I experts in this. We trip over ourselves trying to do this. We're still learning how to do this. Excel has a lot of unique features, and honestly, there could be a quicker way to do this that we just haven't learned yet, but we have found it to be very useful for us at the end of the month to look back on how we spent our time for that month. So we will then transfer over into maybe my calendar real quick. So I picked just 1 week within my calendar that I did pretty well with putting in my time. And what I found is we are usually swamped with left and right, different things flying through our doors. Our schedules are always changing. They're not, our days are usually they don't go as planned. And so I really have to discipline myself at the end of the day to come back, sit down, and fix up my calendar and clean it up to what actually happened. Usually that's just keeping a scrap paper or something at my desk where I can, or a sticky note with me to kind of jot down what happened so I can go back and get an accurate time frame of what I did that day. So at the top left corner, you're going to go, well, let's not do that yet. I'm jumping way ahead. Okay. This looks a little bit different in this view. So to create,
just to note that Sam, I am on here now.
Yeah.
It will look different if you use the web version of Outlook and if you use the desktop. It's essentially the same, but the web version has slightly less functionality than the desktop version.
And that's Shauna joining us, by the way.
Hello.
So set up our categories. I just go into one of my time spaces to create a new appointment, and then you're going to see categorize. And you'll see I have a list of categories here. You can go into all categories and then hit new, and I'll just type in test, and I've probably used most of my colors. We'll just make it purple, hit OK. I already have one called test from last time, so test 1. And there I have it. So you can go in at any time and rename it. If you decided you want to rename it, you can change the color. And so what that ended up doing when I hit enter, test 1 is highlighted, so that strip is purple. So if I unclick it, it's no longer purple. So let's say on this day, Shauna came to my office and we needed to talk. She was having maybe an outburst in class. And so I go into my categories and I find that one, it was a responsive service. And then it was a direct individual service. So you can have more than one category selected for an appointment. When you save it, you'll see there's one main color and then a bar on the side. So you can go in and say, oh, that's not really what happened. And you can change it if you need to at any time. Or if you need to change it for whatever reason, say, oh no, she actually came in at 9 and we met to 10. You can go back and change anything, which we all know, but you can click as many of these as you want. I'll do 3 this time, and you'll see the main color and then 2 little ones. So I'm just going to delete that for the purpose of exporting out to Excel. So those are how you create.
Sam, do you want to go ahead and show them where you changed it to the 15-minute increments? Because we've had that question a couple times too.
So I find it most helpful to have my calendar in 15 increments. You'll see 1, 2, 3, 4. So to do that, you go to View at the top, Time Scale, and then you can go ahead and click which one is that works best for you. For me, it's that 15-minute increment, especially in regards to meeting with kids one-on-one. Or just other little things that I do throughout the day. So View, Time Scale, and then you can click that 15 minutes, or if you even want to go down to 10 minutes, or if you prefer those 30-minute chunks. And so you can go back and reference those defining categories in Outlook, slide that handout to create your categories. And I'm sure elementary, middle, and high school, we all vary in our roles and responsibilities, so not everyone's may look the same, so you're going to tailor it to what works for you, what makes sense to you. You probably saw I have, when I click all categories, an incredibly large number of categories. And so my goal is over the summer to really kind of go back and figure out how to clean it up, just to make it a little bit more concise, this being my first year trying this out. There was just a lot. I just started naming a whole bunch of things, and I just want to make sure I kind of clean it up and it makes sense. When I make that graph, I don't have 100 different categories because those then become hard to see. So that's just a little note. It might be trial and error until you figure out what works best for you. And Shauna, yep, just jump on in anytime you have something you want to add.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll walk through how to export it out to Excel. So we're going to go to File. We're going to click Open and Export. And then we're going to click Import and Export. And we're going to click Export to a File. This import from another program or file automatically highlights itself, so you just have to go and make sure you're clicking Export to a File. You'll hit Next. Comma separate values is the correct one, so you want to keep that one the same. You'll go and click Next. And here it says Calendar. You'll make sure that's highlighted. I made the mistake the first couple times. I kept clicking my name and nothing would populate. So for whatever reason, Calendar is the correct one that I need to click to make sure I get all my appointments transferred over. And then you can go in and save your calendar. So what I like to do is I'm pulling something from January, so that's the week I'm pulling, and then sometimes I'll put my last name in case I need to share it with somebody. And then time analysis. So however you want to, I can't type today. It looks funny that way. And then you can save it to wherever. You'll hit OK. I'm just going to save mine to the desktop. Hit Next. That's your only option, so you'll click Finish. You don't want to touch that Map Custom Fields. You'll just go ahead, leave that as is, and finish. And then you're going to set the date range of what you want it to export. So for the purpose of just showing you how to do this, I'm only going to pull a week. So I'm going to go ahead and put the January 14th, 2019 to January 18th, 2019, and I'll hit OK.
And you're thinking about this, what exactly you're wanting to use your calendar information for. If it's to present to your administration, you may do it monthly or quarterly. If it's just for your own information, you may do it weekly. Just kind of depends on how you're planning on using the information. I try to do mine monthly and then turn it into my administrator.
Okay, so it looks like that is downloaded. Okay, so when you open up your export file, this is what you're going to see. And like I said, it looks like a mess. It looks scary, but we will clean it up, I promise. So right now, what I really want to focus on is starting at this all-day event. From all-day event over to billing info, I can delete all of that. I don't need it. It is not worth. Oh, I want to delete. I'm going to make categories just a bit bigger so I can see. And then after categories, I don't need anything else. So I'm going to delete that as well. So I'm just going to go ahead and just kind of make everything bigger. And you're going to notice start date, start time, end date, end time. I don't need when I started, like what date, for the purpose of what I'm using this for, so I go ahead and delete those columns as well. So from all that, we are down to 4 columns, much easier to work with. And you notice that our times have all these pound signs. We just need to make them bigger and our times will appear, and we'll solve that issue. The next thing I need to do is go and highlight my categories and insert a new column after end time and categories, and I need to create one that says total time. And so this is where we have to start formatting to make sure our time calculates correctly. So for my start time, I'm going to highlight, whoops, not down, over. I'm going to highlight my start time and end time. And I'm going to go over here to number, and you're going to see that little box with that arrow. You're going to click into that. You're going to go to time, and then switch over to military time. I found that works the easiest when trying to do the formula and it calculating how much time you spent doing an activity. So that just transfers everything over to military time. And then in total time, we're going to go highlight the entire column, come back here to number, that little square with that arrow, and this is where we have to do a custom formula. We'll scroll all the way down to the bottom, and we want to use, this is the closest one. So the very last one in mine is H semicolon MM or colon MM semicolon @ What I need to do is come into the type box and just put some brackets around the H. For whatever reason, this will allow us to convert over 24 hours. You just have to make sure you go into custom. For mine, it's the one the last one at the bottom where I just have to go in and put those brackets around the H. Or in the handout, it's there for you and you can just type it right on in. I'm going to hit OK. So now that we have formatted all of our times, we can go in and do our formula to see how much time we spent doing something. So in this first box here, I just do equals, and I'm going to look at C2, so this one here where it's 1,500 hours, minus B2 at 1,200 hours, and hit enter, and I have 3 hours. And then Shauna, remind me how you can go ahead and copy and paste that all the way down, because I always forget. Can you walk me through that?
So just over on the bottom right corner, on the bottom right corner of the cell, You just grab it with your left, hold onto it, and drag it all the way down.
Okay, so I'll go back and repeat that. So once I did the formula once, that box is still highlighted. I see that black cross sign. It looks like an addition sign, and I just dragged it all the way down, and it created that formula for me in all of my spaces. So we have our time, and this is kind of the let me move that out of the way. So now I'm going to go to categories because everything's not put in. It just transferred over. So I don't have direct, indirect, MRT. I don't have anything filtered or sorted next to each other. So I'm just going to highlight, come over here to sort and filter. And I'm going to go ahead and filter. I'm going to highlight them all. Okay, that did not work. What am I doing wrong, Shauna?
Tell me again what you're... So... Oh,
Why didn't it?
go to...
Oh, custom sort. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So you highlight categories, you go to sort and filter, and you're going to click custom sort.
You need to make sure... Wait, Sam. Okay, go around the back and go to highlight all of it. So click, yeah, go all 5 columns. Okay, go up to sort and filter and click filter now. So I just want to make sure they're all together. Now click it again. Do click filter, and then do custom sort. And there you go.
So I can sort by my categories. And now it has it alphabetized where everything's the same. So I'm going to undo that and walk everyone back through that because that was a little, I get tripped up on that part a couple. So I'm going to highlight all 5 of my columns, come to sort and filter, click filter, come back to sort and filter and do custom sort. And then I'm going to sort by my categories.
And actually, you don't even have to do filter because we're not actually filtering anything out. I don't think. I don't filter anything out. I don't know if you do or not.
I don't, but it's there in case you do want to sort anything out. Okay, so this is the time-consuming part that I've not found a quicker way to do this. You may be more knowledgeable in Excel in certain areas that you may know how to do something that will speed this up. But right now, the best way I know how to do this is I'm going to come here to this dismissal. I have my 3 direct. I'm going to highlight it so I can insert a new column. And now I just want to click and drag those times that are under the same category, even though it's individual and classroom lesson, which I've clearly misspelled that week. I want to categorize just all of my direct things together, and I'm going to auto sum. So it's added that as a total of 1 hour and 30 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and do that again here. I'm going to insert a new row, highlight these 4 days that I was doing either cold morning is our arrival if it's cold or wet outside, and dismissal duties. Sometimes that's a question. And then auto sum. So I added 2 hours. So I'm just going to do a few of these. Auto sum. Insert. And so you can see why it might be a little time consuming to do it. And as I said, you may be a little bit more knowledgeable in Excel and may know a quicker way to do that, but that's how I've come to learn how to do this. And now to graph it, it does get a little annoying. We're going to need to open up a tab here in just a minute. And so I want to take, all right, we can kind of do it over to the side, or if you want to go back and forth between sheet 1 and your your export, you can do that, but I'm just going to kind of do it all in one. So I'm going to just type in direct. I keep all the individual classroom lessons, and if I had a small group, I would group them all together. And I had that hour and 30 minutes. So we have to turn that into decimals, so that would be 1.5. So I'm going to do my dismissal, which was 2 hours, so that can stay. My ESOL was 315, so that in decimal would be 3.25. And then 1 hour, something related to gifted. So I'm just going to copy and paste those 4 to my new sheet. I'm going to highlight everything, and you're going to see this little box that says quick analysis. You can click that. You can go to charts. I like pie charts. I think Shauna prefers bar charts. Is that correct?
That is correct.
So I like my pie chart, so I'm going to click chart. You can go ahead and change your title. So I always do whatever time frame that I'm pulling. And then it's this paintbrush. You can do chart styles. And I like to do, I'm going to move this over so I can see it on my screen. I like to do this third one just because then it gives me the percentages. But there are just different ones you can choose from. This one I believe also is just a different way to format. There's that one too. So you can go through and see just what works for you, what format you like to use. But I do like that it does give you the percentages. And so then you can take this and go to your administration, your advisory council, whomever, and advocate for your program and how you're spending your time. And you can take it a few steps further. I won't go through it here, but I can go and take all my non-counseling duties. So for me, a lot of that's MRT, RTI, ESOL, different things that are assigned to me, and I can create just a non-counseling related chart. And same with direct. I can kind of break up my direct. How much am I spending in the classroom? How much am I spending individually? How much am I spending in small groups? How much of that time is responsive services? So you can really tailor this to what you're looking for to show, to really break up your time and create that time task analysis. Donna, do you have any other?
No, I think when we first started doing this, it seemed like so much and so complicated, but now that we've done it together a few times and we've done it on our own, it does seem to be much simpler now. Like once you've done it a few times, it's really not hard at all. It seems like a lot of steps, and if there's a way, if we can figure out how to really adding those extra lines in is what takes so long. So if there's a way that we can figure out how to make that faster, then the rest of it's hardly anything.
I agree, and I like free. I think ASCA has a program out there that does this that's a little expensive, or there's different programs out there that does this for you, but I like free. And this way I can just manipulate it too to what I'm looking for. And so you can really utilize your Outlook calendar and create that discipline to go back at the end of the day or however you see fit to make sure your calendar just has an accurate representation of your day. I know for myself, I do my best to try to get my calendar ready for the next week by the Friday beforehand, and we all know that usually goes to pieces pretty quickly. So then I just want to make sure it's pretty accurate, so when I do talk to my administration, it is a fairly true representation of how my time is being spent day to day here at the school.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much, that covers it as far as I can tell.
I think so, and the handout walks you step by step on how to do what we did. There were a lot of steps involved, but it breaks down how to go into number, how to do that custom, doing these times into military time, the formula. So those are all written out for you because this is a lot of information. I've stumbled over a few times in this presentation, and it just takes a few tries of doing it to get used to it, and it does go a lot quicker. For Sean and I to do this in 30 minutes is not too bad to be able to show you. So it doesn't take too long. Like Shauna said, this is the most time-consuming part, especially if you're doing a month's worth of data, of looking at that time, because I only pulled a week, and I didn't even go through all of it just for time's sake. So that's going to take the longest.
But then, of course, if you're only going to use like those 4 main categories, then you've only got 4 divisions, and it's really not that bad. It just depends on how much you want to break down your calendar and how detailed you want to get it.
Yeah, before I thought about doing a time task analysis, I had just created a category for like every little thing I did, and now that I'm doing the time task analysis, I know better now that I need to go back and really refine it, because it's just a little out of hand, and I think there's just there's a better way that can do this cohesively but still makes sense and is actually a true representation of how my time is spent. So I think we are done, Grace, as far as walking through everything. Is Grace there?
Oh,
shoot.
There I am. Sorry about that. I was like, no, I'm listening intently. So we did have a couple of questions, and I just want to reiterate that this presentation and the handouts, which I'm currently uploading, will be sent to you as someone who attended live. You will get them first. So a video of this will be there. We will also be uploading this video to the FSCA YouTube account. So if you're familiar with that, you'll find it there. If you're not familiar, go ahead and like it. YouTube, if you just search Florida School Counselor Association, you will find our YouTube page. And the handouts will be available also when your recording comes to you. If there's anyone else with questions, please feel free to mark your question mark there, and we will answer them. Anyone else have any questions before we go ahead and say thank you and goodbye? Feel free to raise a hand, mark your question. It doesn't look like it, so steps to review. I think everyone's got it. It looks like I'll give everyone a couple more seconds to respond.
And I would say, Grace, will they have access to like our email address or something if they do end up having a question that they want to ask us about?
Let us definitely, I will, or you can put that on one of your handouts before I send it. Or I do believe they're recording the first page of your presentation. Sam, will you go back to your presentation mode on your PowerPoint and your first screen?
Yeah,
no. They didn't.
Email addresses are not there.
I will make sure from FSCA that everybody who is watching the webinar today and to those who signed up but couldn't attend, that they have access to your email addresses. Sam, will you go ahead and verbally give your email address?
Oh, yes. So my email address is my last name, DESJARLAIS with an extra S. So there'll be 2 S's at the end at Duval, DUVAL schools.org.
Awesome. How about you, Shauna Winterbottom? What's your email?
Mine is swinterbottom@seasidecharter.org.
Okay, and it looks like we have no additional questions. We will make sure that the handouts and the recording goes out to everyone. Again, don't forget to go to the YouTube page and check out the recording. If you have any friends who weren't able to attend today, they can go to YouTube as well. It's a free site. We are not a paid site and share the recording with them, because maybe we'll get some more students or practicing school counselors or professors, or you never know who want to not only attend webinars, but who are interested in sharing information that they have as well. Thank you all for attending today, and I will hopefully see you guys at another webinar soon. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.